So here's part 5 of the blog. This part I'm going to be talking about income tax. In my opinion, the income tax should be abolished. You know, a lot of people say we should have a flat income tax. A lot of people say we should reduce the income tax. In my opinion, we should abolish the income tax. In my opinion, the income tax is a form of socialism, a form of communism. The income tax, again, in my opinion, it's a form of socialism. It's a form of big government socialism. I think it's totally un-American, and I think the income tax should be totally abolished. You know, this country had no income tax for like the first, I think it's 120 or 150 years. This country had no income tax. I think it was 1913. It was around 1913, somewhere around there, that the income tax started. Before that, from 1776 all the way, I think, till 1913, this country had no income tax. And the economy grew massively. There was massive economic growth and massive middle-class upward mobility. All right, the income tax is horrendous. The income tax is disastrous. The income tax should be completely and totally abolished, completely done away with. And in my opinion, it should be replaced. The income tax should be replaced by a 10% sales tax. And the sales tax would be on everything. You'd pay the sales tax on everything. So if you bought a house, you pay 10% sales tax on the house. You buy a car, you pay 10% sales tax on the car. You know, food, everything is 10% sales tax. Everything. Everything you buy is 10% sales tax, in my opinion. And here's the thing. You would have free health care, and then you would have free food at those, like, food banks, and at you know, you would have free food would be distributed at food banks. That would be like a $10 billion program. So if you had no money to get food, you could go to a food bank and you could get free food, and then that would obviously be tax-free. Healthcare would have a basic healthcare system paid for by sales tax, in my opinion, and that would cost like $500 billion per year, and it would just be basic healthcare. It would be like basically just like a basic clinic, hospital type system where you could just go to the clinic, go to the hospital, and get all your health care basically free. And that would be paid for by the $500 billion sales tax. So if you need medicine, you could go there, get the medicine free. Everything would be free at those free clinics, free hospitals, paid for with the $500 billion in sales tax revenue. And then that would be for everybody that needs it. And obviously the middle class and the upper middle class, they would have private insurance. And then poor people and people that didn't want private insurance, they could just go to the free hospital, free clinic, and get all their health care, all their dentist work, all their eye care for free. You know, at the free hospital, free clinics. It costs about $500 billion to do that, and that would be paid for with the 10% sales tax. And then obviously the free food program would only be like $10 billion, so that would also be paid for with the sales tax. And then there'd be money left over. There'd be like hundreds and hundreds of billions left over, and then that would pay for just general government operations. That's how I think it should be. I think the income tax should be abolished, replaced with 10% sales tax. I think it would be much fairer. The other thing too is the income tax is incredibly terrible for middle class people. The income tax is horrible if you're middle class. If you're working class, the income tax is really, really terrible. You got to pay to have it prepared for you. I just do it myself. I'm trying to do it myself now to save money. But I mean, the income tax is just a racket. You know, these welfare queens don't even pay income tax. They get the earned income tax credit, they get money back. They get the earned income tax credit welfare scam program, they get money back. It's disgusting. It's utterly disgusting. You have ultra-rich elites. They'll get a $100 million jet. They'll call it a business expense at the $100 million jet, and they'll pay no tax, or they pay way less tax. So the whole system's a fraud. The whole system is basically just a massive tax program on us middle-class people, and it's totally disgusting, and the income tax should be abolished and just replaced by a 10% sales tax on everybody. The other thing about a 10% sales tax that's really great is everybody pays their fair share. The illegals have to pay. The illegals have to pay. Of course, a lot of them should be deported, but the ones that aren't deported, they would still have to pay the 10% sales tax. Everybody winds up paying the 10% sales tax. The rich people, if they buy a big, huge jet for $200 million, they're going to pay $20 million sales tax. If they buy a fancy car for $1 million, they're going to pay $100,000 sales tax. So it forces the rich to pay their fair share. You know, everybody winds up paying their fair share with a sales tax. It's a much better tax.